All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Greg, and it is week 7 of my marathon build. So we're heading into Christmas here shortly. So I'm pretty excited about that. Right now, the training's going well. Can't really complain. Starting to see some improvement on the old Whoop strap. Things are starting to light up green more often than not, which is awesome. And hopefully that's a good sign that things are going the way we want them to go as we head into the second half of the marathon build. Heading into the Wilmington Marathon here on February the 25th of this year. So, hope you're having a great end of the year here, heading into the end of your 2022 and making plans for your 2023. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you'll find these videos useful. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That'll help me out and I'd greatly appreciate that. Let's get into it. Week 7. Lace them up, get outside, get your run on. That's the theme of my channel. Here we go. Little overview starting out. You can see for the week here, grand total of 73 miles for the week. This has been my largest volume week so far in my build-up. So that's a good thing. I felt good this week. You can see this week's covering December the 12th through December the 18th. Total calories burned according to the old Garmin watch was 6,489 calories. Grand total of 12 hours of activity. So I had a couple of days here where I went quite long. The other days I did have a couple two-a-days here, so that was good. Things are looking up, so let's check it out here. Going to the Whoop strap, the weekly recovery, kind of struggling this week. 6 days in the yellow, 1 day in the green. Obviously, I'd like to see more days in the green, but right now, when I'm starting to build the volume, it's difficult to get that balance just right. I'll have to start going to bed a little bit earlier in the evenings, obviously, to get things back on track. But it is what it is. The strain was definitely up this week. The average, leaving the 17s here, heading into the 18s. And hopefully I will continue to see this over the next several weeks as I increase my strain level, probably getting into the 20s on my average strain. And if you're familiar with Whoop, 21 is basically the highest it goes. So as when you get there, you're pretty much working out all the time. So depending on your level of fitness, because everybody's strain's different depending on where they start, but you know, once you hit 21, you're getting it done. That's pretty much what it's telling you, that you need a lot more recovery and not more strain built into your day. So here we go. Week 7, Monday, day 43 overall, December the 12th. What did I do that day? Well, ran twice today. In the AM, I put in a 6-mile run, just a little base run, average heart rate of around 143 during that run. So not too fast, not too slow, just kind of right there in that medium area, which I don't spend a whole lot of time in, but that's what I felt like doing this AM, so that's what I did. Jumped over to the PM and did a 10-mile run. Also at a recovery pace, very slow, but put in 16 miles for the day, and that was the goal, to set back and start to build the mileage. So that was a good day. Heading into Tuesday, December 13th, I picked up the pace today for roughly a little over 6.5 miles here on the treadmill. It says it was a VO2 max workout. You can see where my heart rate was. 161 beats, average of 161, max of 182. So that's getting after it for me. So I felt pretty good on that run, and that was the purpose of today's run, was to pick up the speed a little bit, work on that lactate threshold, and start to build up my speed endurance a little bit. Wednesday, day 45. Another tough day. I stepped it up again here. Average heart rate of 149 beats per minute with a max of 165. So not quite as hard as yesterday as far as the speed goes, but I did kick it out for about 10 miles. So that was a good workout. Again, I felt great. Things are looking up. Thursday, came back and took it easy. Average heart rate of 139 for 10 miles. So a little easy 10-mile run on Thursday, just to give my body time to recuperate a little bit before the weekend. Friday, day 47, what do we get? All right, tempo day. Picked it up again for 9 miles, just slightly. What I'm doing basically here on the treadmill is I'm doing progression runs where I'm starting off at around a 10-minute pace and I'm working my way down to a low 8 or a high 7-minute pace. Over the next several weeks, I'll work that on down until I get to a point where I'm doing a lot of mileage at that 630 to 620 range per mile when I'm trying to pick it up and put my speed back in my legs, if you will. Now, also over this time, I'll start to watch what I'm eating a little bit more closely, and that will get my body prepared to lose a few pounds heading into the actual race. Saturday, took it easy for 8.5 miles. That's typically what I do. I take it easy on Saturday so I can run long on Sunday. So average heart rate of 106 beats per minute. So you can see that was a very easy run. I stayed out for about an hour and 53 minutes, but again, at a very easy pace. So I wrapped up the week on Sunday, December the 18th here with a 13-mile run, basically a half marathon. Average heart rate of 160 beats per minute. Today, time-wise, 1 hour, 51 minutes. So not blazing by any stretch. Now this says this is a VO2 max workout at this point in time. I don't know about that, but the way I ran it, I started off slower than that pace and then I got faster. So I did do some faster running within that run, and that's kind of why it worked out the way it did according to the Garmin. So yeah, that's week 7. Week 7 was a fantastic week. That's my best week so far. 73 miles in. I knew we're getting ready to head into Christmas week, so I wanted to go ahead and put in a bigger week because I figured Christmas week would be a little bit lighter than week 7. So here we go with week 8. Week 8, short week of 33 miles. So I backed it off, cut it in half. The reason I did that was because we had a lot of things going on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and I just kicked it back and took it easy. So looking at Monday, day 50, base day, average heart rate of 115 beats per minute for 9 miles. Pretty easy day. Tuesday, I jumped on my Apple Watch this time, so the information here looks a little bit different than my Garmin. But again, 9.3 miles inside. Let's see, average heart rate of 141 beats per minute, average pace of 834. So that's just one of those nice little stable runs. Not too slow, not too fast, so to speak. Got it done. Wednesday, worked out twice on Wednesday, 6 miles and 6 miles, and they both were done at a very easy pace, with the PM being even easier than the AM. And then I wrapped my week up on Thursday with another double run of 5 miles and 7 miles. And again, these were done at a relatively easy pace. So nothing difficult this week. I knew I was going to take it easy being Christmas week and then hopefully come back strong in week 9 and really start digging in as we head into the last month and a half of training here in preparation for the Wilmington Marathon. So yes, Friday, rest day. Saturday, I did do a workout, but I didn't really clock it, so to speak. So the 33 miles is a little bit deceptive, but that's all right. Really, it's pretty accurate, but let's just say that I put in another 5 miles of walking on Saturday. Nothing special there. So really, I ended up roughly, I guess, closer to 40 miles for the week, but that was still a big breakdown from the week before where I ran 73. So there you go. Sunday was Christmas Day. Took it easy to wrap it up. So yeah, that's week 7 and 8 of the marathon build. Now, let me just take a moment to talk a little bit about what's been going on. I'm trying to get some traction with these videos. If you're watching and think it's just about my training, that's not the point of this. That's not why I'm sharing this. I'm trying to share this to show what you can do if you're new to marathoning, or even if you're a veteran but looking to change things up a little bit, how you can kind of set up a training program that will allow you to progress over time and then really hit the goal for that you set for yourself on race day. And the key is to really start early. This has been a 16-week plan, but I run year round. So really for me, 16 weeks is longer than 16 weeks, if that makes sense. Now, if you're brand new to running the marathon distance, and let's say you've been running 2 years, well, you may want to have a program of 24 weeks, let's say, if you have a more aggressive goal. 16 weeks is, in my opinion, the bare minimum that you should devote to marathon training if you're going to try to run a good marathon. Now, if you're just going out to complete a marathon for charity and you're planning on walking a lot and that kind of thing, well, that's different. But if you're planning on going out and hitting your best time and an aggressive goal that you set for yourself based on your ability and where you're at right now, 16 weeks is the bare minimum. If you're newer, 24 weeks is a better amount of time to get yourself ready. But the problem with programs that last longer than 16 weeks is that you're setting yourself up for a lot of mental anguish, because the longer it gets, the harder it is to stick with that program. So that's something else that you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about preparing for a marathon. Now, going back to me and my plan, 16 weeks, if it's done right, that gives me the time to build back up my long runs if I've backed off on doing those long runs. And it gives me the time to go from running 40 to 50 miles a week and build myself up to more like 80 to 100 miles a week for several weeks, to give myself that stamina, that endurance at certain speed that I want to carry throughout the race. That's the thing about the marathon. You can go out and do a lot of speed work, which helps build stamina as well. That's going to give you a better overall time if you have enough endurance work built into your legs to allow you to maintain that time throughout the 26.2 miles. The problem is finding that balance between running fast and building endurance so you can get through the entire workout training series, the program, without getting injured. Because if you get injured, you're not going to run the marathon anyway, and that defeats the whole purpose. So how do you stay injury-free while still building your speed at the same time? Because an increase in volume and an increase in speed are the two things that are going to get you injured, if anything gets you injured, because you're asking your body to do more each week. So going back to, if you're new to running, it takes longer to build up all those connections in your body, your tendons, your ligaments, your muscles, your bone structure, all that joints working together to make you a more efficient runner. Now, for me, since I've done this 45 plus years now, I've had a lot of time to build that up. My problem now at my age is maintaining the speed. And there's two factors involved in that outside of the injury prevention. One being just getting out there and having the mental fortitude to do the speed work. I love to run, but I don't love to run fast anymore, and there's a reason. The problem with running fast is it hurts my body more than it did when I was 32 versus 52 now. So it's like I have to deal with more niggles, more little pains, more soreness, that kind of thing. So I have to really pick and choose the times where I go hard. And that means I have to build my training program in such a way that it allows me to build that endurance that I need for the marathon, while also putting in speed sessions so I can run that marathon at a goal pace that makes me happy. Because again, everybody's different, but for me, I'm not into just running to run. I like to run with a goal in mind because it gives my running more purpose. It keeps me focused on quality, not just kind of slopping along all the time. And there's a time for that. There's always within my year several months where I just go out and run for joy. Just put on my shoes and go run at whatever pace I feel. But setting the goals for the race, the beauty of that is it allows me to spend more time focusing on maintaining as I get older, if that makes sense. Because if I don't focus, I lose. I'm already on the downhill slide as far as, physical fitness goes. The older you get, we all know, the harder you work, the less you lose, but you're still losing. It's just a fact of life. I'm not going to be what I was at 35, at 52. And I'm trying to just mitigate the decline, if you will. So how do I stay fast when I can't sprint? Because when you're young, you can sprint. And that, to me, that's a game changer. When you can go out and actually run full speed for 50 yards, 100 yards, 100 meters, 200 meters, that really keeps those legs firing big time. If you can do that once every 2 weeks and then build that in with quality mid runs and long runs, tempo workouts, things like that, your legs are used to going fast enough that once you build enough endurance in there, you can turn in some really good marathon times for yourself. Problem I have, it's almost impossible for me to quote sprint. I mean, just all out wide open without my hip giving me a problem or my sciatic nerve acting up, the knee, the feet. So that's really the reason why I set up my training program the way I do. So if you go back and look through each week, if you watch these videos, go back and check them out, what you'll see is a lot of slower mileage, building up that volume, so I know I can maintain whatever my best pace is on the day, I'll be able to maintain it. Now, so that trumps the fast work. And it always has to in a marathon because you're running more aerobically than you are anaerobically, if you understand those terms. That anaerobic running, though, is still very important because adaptations happen to your body that are going to allow you to run your best pace, feeling easier during the race, if you will. If you don't run fast in training, then you try to turn it on during the race, just because you've got all the volume built up, you'll be able to hold it for a while. But as you hit miles 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's where I find that things start to fall apart. If you haven't been able to do faster running for longer periods of time during your training block. So when you set up your training block, point I'm getting to here as I ramble on is that you want to build it in a way that the second half of your training is where the speed work gets done. That's the best way to prevent injuries because number one, you've already trained now for 2 months. Your body has gotten more used to the rigors of training. So now as you start to introduce more and more speed work, in my opinion, and based on research, you're less likely to get injured at that point because your body's more prepared for the speed work and the rigors of speed work. So again, I ease it in and I really listen to my body. No matter what I have put on the training plan itself, when I go out and do those hard sessions, if my legs say that's enough, then that's enough. So if I've got, let's say 10 1-mile repeats planned and I get to number 7 and that's it, I don't feel it, normally I'll shut it down. Now, there's people that'll disagree with that and I understand why. You're saying, well, you've got a program set up, you really need to hit those workouts if you want to hit your goal. That's true. That's true too. It is. But again, I'm gonna have to lean back towards staying injury-free at my age. I just know through my history of running and what leads to injuries, I can almost, well, I won't even say almost, I can feel it coming on. I can feel an injury getting ready to really happen. So that's when I back off. 200 meters, 400 meters, I'll do those as well, along with my 1-mile repeats. And some days I'll just feel that hamstring start to tighten, and that's when I call it quits. Other days, I get through the whole workout. So it just depends. Another issue I have personally is that this time of the year when the weather's colder, since I'm older now, and if you're an older runner, you can probably attest to this as well, your body just doesn't feel like it does in the warmer months. So once the weather gets above 60 consistently, my body feels a lot better. Once I'm down there in the 30s, the high 20s, the 30s, the 40s, there's a lot of aches that just really prevent me from running as fast as I want to in training some days. So that's kind of why I set things up the way I do. You really want to build that mileage, that volume slowly over several months. That's why I say 24 weeks is better than 16 if you're newer. If you're running all the time, 16 is plenty. You can build yourself right back up, especially if you're the type of person that keeps a long run kind of in your program throughout the year. I don't. Well, what I mean by long run too, let me clarify, is anything over 14 miles. For me, I would consider a long run. I'll put in 13-mile runs throughout the year quite a bit, and that helps to maintain a certain level of fitness. But it's a totally different thing to start running 16, 17, 18, 20, 21 miles Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. I'll do that no more than 8 weeks worth. So that's where I'm at now. I'm in that zone now where I've done one 15-mile run. And if you've watched the last video, you know my knee got tweaked and it's still feeling it. So I've got to be careful now as I start to build up those long runs along with that speed work at the same time. So I try to avoid injury. That's the goal. But again, you're going to have to skirt that line a little bit as you work on this stuff, because No pain, no gain, they say. If I don't take a chance, then I definitely won't hit my goal. So it's either go for it, get injured and don't run the race, go for it, don't get injured and set your goal, or don't go for it, run the race and don't hit your goal. So you see what I'm saying? There's different options here that you have as a runner. But again, everybody's different. If you just want to go finish, ease off on that speed work, do more endurance work, build up that volume slowly, and you're going to have a great day. If you're there to run fast, then you're going to have to hurt in training. That's what it comes down to. That last 2 months of your training before the marathon, if you're really going to hit your goal, then you're going to have to make sure that you put in that speed work, that tough work, where you build that mileage up and you run a lot of those miles at a faster pace. That's all there is to it. I'm going to leave it right there. But as always, thanks so much for stopping by the channel. Thanks for taking the time to watch the videos. Please leave in the comments your favorite workout. Tell me why you love it. Tell me how it benefits you. I'd love to hear, love to share that information with everyone. So don't forget, finish your year strong. Hope you have a great holiday season, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and all that good stuff if I don't see you before then. But if not, don't forget, always lace them up, get out there, get your run on. I'm Greg. I'll see you next time. Have a great one.